What's up, guys? Tool the pot.
Who are you to wave your finger? You must have been out your head. I hold deep in muddy waters. You practically raised the dead. Rob the grave to snow the cradle, then burn the evidence down. Soapbox house of cards and glass, so don't go tossing your stones around. You must have been high. You must have been high. You must have been.
All right. What I don't think I've ever heard it before, is right when the vocal melodies start, which kicks off a song, is they've copied Maynard's vocal lines and they've actually copy and pasted it to the beginning of the song and turned it way down. I don't think I've ever heard that before. They are deep down in there. So before you hear that first, like, right in your face vocal melody, listen very faintly. You can hear it.
Who are you? Who are you to wave your
You can hear it again right after this line.
Stop,
listen.
I hold
What?
deep in muddy waters. You practically raised the dead.
So I believe this is Justin on bass, and he's an amazing bass player. Where he chooses to pause or stop picking and start back up is very, complicated, but it is very unique. So you don't know when the bass kicks in, you don't know, do I follow Maynard's vocal melody or do I follow the bass riff? Like, because they're both different.
Rob the grave to snow
Which one do I follow?
the cradle, then burn the evidence.
And then I don't have to talk about Danny, his insane skills, but when he comes in on these toms, it's probably a different time signature than the bass as well. So I potentially have 3 different time signatures that are doing different things, and they're on one beat. They're meeting and then they're disappearing again for, a bar. Then they're meeting and then they're disappearing again and going on their own. It's hard to follow. Which one do I follow?
Soapbox house of cards and glass.
So now I have guitar feedback coming in, so the volume is rising. He may be just doing it with the volume knob on his guitar, which I'm sure that's what they do live. 2 different guitar tracks, 2 different frequencies too. This one's more high end. That guitar is so sick sounding. And it's not super heavy distortion by any means, especially by today's standards. Did you hear Danny's snare fill? I know you did. I believe it's like a 3-count snare fill, and the first 2 counts sounded the same, the fill of the snare, and then the third one sounded different. They may have been all the same. Okay, so something you might not have noticed. The bass, they either add a little bit of distortion to it, or they're turning up the highs, the mids and the highs on the bass, because now you can hear how crisp it sounds compared to the beginning. And who as a guitar player says, all right, when we go heavy, we go into this first heavy part, I'm just going to play like 2 notes and then bend 1 note as almost as a feedback. It's not like an amazing guitar melody. It's just it's simple. He's bending 1 note. have two different. I also have two different sounding guitars, and I know it's just him as a guitar player. So I know he's recording at least minimum 2 guitar tracks, and they're just slightly off from each other. That bass is sick. So, no guitar at all. Maynard sounds very lonely, so it might just be one vocal track. The driving force, it's either between bass or drums, right? No guitar. What you talking about? And so the bass sound is completely different than what I heard in the beginning of the song, as well as it's a completely different bass riff. Now his starting and stopping is matching with the flow of the music. The beginning, it sounded very confusing, but it's kind of in sync. Oh, it's kind of confusing. And now all of a sudden, him and Maynard and Danny are kind of jiving together now, which gives you a driving force versus earlier where you're like, oh, I don't know where my head should go in this time signature. Smart. Now it's together. I'm not sure what effect that is. That's so sick. So I'm going to change my bass riff, and I'm going to change my vocal melody. Also, there's a shaker in there, which I don't think I've ever noticed before. There's totally a hi-hat, right? Danny's playing on his hi-hat, but there's also a shaker. I feel like I hear. I feel like I'm hearing a shaker with the hi-hat. There's a shaker there. What an insanely weird guitar riff that is. If you're just sitting in your bedroom, you're like, oh, check out this riff to a friend, they're going to be like, that riff doesn't sound like it should go on a song. These guys are very good at making weird time signature things on all the instruments sound cohesive, which is, again, it's why they've been around forever, I know. This riff. He starts again. Back to that intro heavy part with the guitar feedback. But now, instead of keeping it the same as it was at the intro, they're letting Danny just go bonkers on in his fills. Sorry, go back a little bit. So I'm going to go right back into that heavy intro part, but Danny's going to go crazy on his drums. It's a little different than the intro. So now what I'm doing is I'm not letting the bass come in, and this is the second verse. I'm not letting the bass come in by itself. Now I'm going to add some heavy chugs to signify the song is growing, and this is how the second verse goes. also Maynard in the first verse, he's way more laid back, and in this second one, volume's turned down because he's like really getting into it now. But it still sounds, there's not many effects at all on Maynard's vocals. Maynard is the man. It's why it sounds so unique with Tool is he doesn't have a whole lot of vocal tracks going on, man. It's just straight up, it's me and you, dude, and I'm going to sing. I'm going to decide where I put you volume-wise, which is, for Tool, his volume is always turned down. He's just another instrument. The guitars for Tool are always very loud. Maynard doesn't get enough credit for his screams. And this song came out a while ago, but listen to how distinct the scream is. And one of the reasons why not everybody talks about it is because he's always turned down in the mix. Like I just said, he's just another instrument for the band, which is amazing. If they were to like take this scream that he does and like turn it up in the mix and like back it by 3 or 4 more screams, everybody'd be like, "Oh my God, Maynard can scream." Tool fans know Maynard can scream. They don't showcase it. Let me find it real fast. This. So what they're doing is the guitar and bass, they're climbing up. Each time they start that riff again, they're climbing up notes, which is why it sounds a little weird, but it's so cool. They're climbing up the fretboard. A little more. Open. That's so unique. Like, that guitar is not heavily distorted. Well, you're hearing multiple guitar tracks. It's just not heavily distorted, but it sounds like it's so mean. So it's like a wah, and all the highs are gone out of that haunting guitar that you're hearing. And Danny's going crazy already. Wonder how they play that. I'm curious to know how they play that part live with one guitar player. Danny is so good at deciding when to really emphasize his kick drum. He's so good, and that's what coming in right here. It's basically all, that's all toms and snare. There's that double kick. Is that a bass wah? I believe that's a bass wah. So much going on. They're so good. Now I'm gonna go back to the one guitar riff, and I'm gonna start climbing up the scale again on the fretboard. Danny is so good at deciding when to use the double kick. It's so much better, more powerful when you just don't double kick all the time. And this is a super slow and pausing double kick. He probably do it with one foot, actually. Oh, I get so pumped up when Danny finally decides to use his kick more. It's so good. Why isn't my play button working? Right here. I get so freaking pumped up over Danny's kicks. Listen to Maynard scream. Listen to his scream right now. Right here. I don't know how long is that? Oh, Maynard. I'm going to try to count.